right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Legend of the Three Kingdoms. This is my custom D&D campaign, and the people you see below me as I fix everything here. Um, or the people that are playing oddly enough. So today, um, uh, let's jump back into the story because we got lots of cool stuff to do. So we ended last session with you guys have found this kind of caged thing at the bottom of this lake, and you had found this very large, strange werewolf in it that had the ability to somehow heal themselves or regenerate themselves, uh, while trying to kind of figure it out and figure out what was going on. The werewolf was able to get out of it and rushed to try and kill you guys. And as you were getting ready for another taxing fight, you were suddenly interrupted by a group of five uh, were creatures, it seemed, at first class, that came in and just destroyed this werewolf, uh, hurting him much faster than it could heal itself. And at the end of the conflict, the leader of this group took his very large great sword, pointed it towards you guys, and just growled at you. Um, and that is where we're going to pick it up. So again, some of you are still soaking wet from the water. You guys have just seen this very bestial display. Uh, there we go. Sorry, getting other stuff set up at the same time. This was remarkably difficult. Um, so yeah, you guys just saw this very bestial display of martial prowess from these five figures, and the leader is now pointing his sword at you guys and growling. Uh, what would you like to do?
Where are they in relation to us? Since I know we're kind of split top and bottom.
Um, right now, the leader of the group is in the shallow water, right in front of. I can't see who that is. In front of Vala and uh, I think that's Henri next.
I believe it's Argenta and
Argenta,
Val.
there, yeah, Vala and Argenta. He's right in front of you guys, about 5 feet in front of you. The rest are kind of spread out. The woman with the longbow is actually up on the cliff with you guys. The rest of the group is all kind of spread out in the shallows down here, as the water around them starts slowly but surely turning red, with the corpse of the werewolf just kind of bobbing there, partially uh, destroyed. Like there's pieces of him that are still kind of connected.
I'm like wringing the water out of my hair, and I'm just like, that was impressive. I'm the lone wolf. Nice to meet you.
As you say that, he kind of growls again and speaks, "What have you done?"
We haven't done anything. We happened upon this place, and it was like turning everything into seawater.
And as you see him, just like his eyes are kind of bloodshot, getting redder and redder, and you can see him becoming more and more kind of fear, uh, uh, furious. You see another one of these were creatures, and you watch as he slowly loses his more feral appearances, and you can see as he walks forward, he's a relatively kind of handsome, strong-looking human. He's got this kind of golden hair. Um, and as he moves forward, you see him kind of just place a hand on the leader and go, uh, Gilead, perhaps you should shift back. And you see the leader just still kind of just pulsing with unused energy, and the grip around his greatsword just getting tighter, and even through like the fur on his hands, you can see his knuckles are bright white, and all of his muscles are tense, and he just kind of turns towards this human and glares at him, and with a look that to anyone else would cause them to step back at least. Like there is fury in his look, and yet this human just sits there with his hand very lightly on his shoulder, staring at him in the street, very calm. And as that happens, you guys suddenly feel something weird. You notice before the creatures started challenging you guys, the disc that had been pouring water out had stopped pouring water out, and now you guys start feeling kind of off. Up until this point, like the air was full of sea spray. It was very kind of damp, and now the air is starting to feel like oppressively dry, to the point where you guys are starting, like your skin's starting to itch ever so slightly, like it does when you're really, really dry. And you watch as uh, all of these people that just got here just kind of start sniffing, and then you guys hear this kind of strange rumbling sound as the ground beneath you just very subtly vibrates. And you watch as the expression of the leader of this group changes, and he goes, "Run!" And they just start bolting away. The woman up top with you guys takes this diving leap off of the cliff, lands, rolls, and is already running as all five of these creatures just book it out of here.
I'm running in the same direction they're going.
As you
I will,
okay, go ahead.
I will follow.
Okay, as you guys start going, the ground beneath you shifts and twists and knocks all of you guys off your feet for just a split second. You very quickly recover, but it's like the entire planet just like flipped for a second. Um, those of you on the top of the cliff, you notice while you haven't jumped off the cliff, the bottom where Argenta and Vala are, is rapidly approaching you guys, and you realize it's because the cliff itself is falling. As it reaches this same height, those of you on the top cliff feel this massive stop as the ground itself becomes even, and you're all thrown down next to Vala and Argenta. And as you look around, you see the water itself that's everywhere has started rushing in these massive rivers of water towards a random direction. And the coral that you guys have been standing on, you can see it erupting and cracking and breaking in random places. So, what's going to happen, because you guys have traveled a fair amount, is as you guys try to escape this, you're going to have to try and figure out a way to get to a safer area, because where you currently are is dangerous, and you kind of assume that's why the other people left.
Yeah. What a-
So, what's going to happen is I'd like everyone to roll an initiative for me.
The time to be out of spell slots.
Gotta love it.
Starting the day off right. Well, it wouldn't be any other way. New year, not new me.
All right, Argenta,
19.
Vala,
19.
Lillian,
12.
Henri,
4.
and Commander.
15.
All right, so here's what's going to happen. You guys need to move a total of 150 feet. And you've got 5 turns to move that far. Now, most of you with a dash can move about 60 feet a turn. So this is not an incredibly difficult thing. You've done it before. However, the terrain you're on is going to be shifting and changing while you're doing this, which may help or hinder you. Mostly just hinder.
Of course.
You actually have a choice, though. As of right now, there are 2 paths you can choose to get to where you need to go. One is by running along the coral, hoping it doesn't shatter beneath you. The other is by attempting to ride the river down. So you can choose the coral path or the water path. And depending on what things happen, you may get shifted between paths. So initiative is just going to give me the ability to kind of choose which outcome goes first. For this challenge, every turn, the first turn you're going to tell me which path you want to choose, and from then on, you just have to keep track. Are you in the water or on coral? And everyone will roll a d8, and depending on what you roll, I will give you a scenario to overcome.
Oh, good lord. You really did put some time in this.
Yeah, I did. If once you reach 150 feet, you can go. If you want to use an ability like an attack or a spell, you can to solve whatever problem you're in. However, that will take your action for that turn, and you will only move 30 feet. Otherwise, I will give you some suggested skills you can use, or routes you can take. You don't have to take these. These are just ones that I came up with and I have written down the DCs and stuff for. If you want to do anything different, just let me know and I'll come up with something. So, first things first. Argenta, are you gonna go coral or water?
Coral.
Vala?
Water.
Lillian?
Water.
Right. Henri?
I want to use an ability, but I'm going to be picking coral. But I'm going to use my ability before I go coral.
Okay. As soon as we get to you, we can deal with that. Commander.
I'll go coral.
All right. Everybody roll a D8.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I can roll d8s. I just can't roll 20.
Well, and high and low numbers aren't really going to help or hinder you. It's just different things that happen. We'll start with Argenta. What number did you roll?
I rolled a 4.
Vala?
I rolled a 3.
Lillian?
Yeah.
Henri?
8 as well.
And Commander?
1.
Cool. We will start with Argenta. If you guys are ever on the same path and roll the same number, you guys get to work together to overcome it. So you got a 4, right?
Yep.
Argenta, as you're running forward, suddenly you feel this lurch, and the ground in front of you drops to almost a 70-degree angle, and you start sliding down this slope with jagged pieces of coral everywhere, starting to cut you. I need a strength save to try and stop you from uncontrollably sliding down this slope with razor sharp coral.
Strength save. This roll 12.
All right, so as you're going down, you're trying to grab onto things, and you just can't. You keep getting slashed by all this coral. You take 15 slashing damage.
Okay.
As far as continuing down this slope, if you'd like to just kind of grunt through it and just go with the resist the coral, you can roll a con save for me. Or if you prefer to try and look around and find a safe path to kind of slide your way down, you can use your perception.
I'll try for the safe path to slide my way down.
Make me a perception check.
22.
All right, so as you're sitting there sliding down, you're still trying to nurse these wounds you got as you first started sliding. You start seeing kind of a pattern to these jagged pieces of coral that are jutting up, and you start kind of swaying and rolling a little bit, and you kind of surf your way down this slope. As you hit the bottom, you're able to stop your downward momentum and kind of roll and get up to a running start and continue running towards safety. You moved you moved your full movements, so whatever your the dash and regular movement is.
That'd be 80 feet.
So you moved 80 feet. You are halfway there.
Well-
Damn.
Barbarian.
Vala, you dive into the water.
Yes.
And try using kind of the current itself of the water and your own prowess to kind of move through and go as fast as you can. However, as you're going, you start seeing just these little white caps appearing in front of you, and soon you are in a deadly set of rapids, where these big crags of coral just seem to appear out of nowhere. I need a dex save to try to avoid hitting the coral.
Oh, no.
Mm.
Oh, dex saving throw. Well, with my +7, it's a 9.
Ooh.
Ew.
So as you're sitting there and you're trying to kind of ride the currents, you think you're doing pretty good, and then the current kind of spins you around, so you're going backwards. You suddenly feel something very large pierce the center of your back. Pain radiates through your entire body. You take 15 piercing damage.
Okay.
Knowing that there's not a whole lot of chance for you to get out of these rapids, the two choices you see right away are you can try to kind of just watch where the coral are and find a pathway through with perception, or you can say screw this and intentionally run into certain rapids that you think you can kind of bounce off of to direct yourself using your athletics skill, or anything else you want to try.
I am going to try to perceive the right path.
Make me a perception check then.
That's cocked. That's 16.
16. So as you're sitting there and you see these things coming, you suddenly start kind of just swimming around, and you start seeing a slight pattern. You're being able to predict where they could come up, and though you have quite a few very close shaves, including a couple that get parts of like your cloak and armor scratched or ripped off entirely, you do make it through, moving your full dash speed.
Okay.
Next up is Commander.
Oh, boy.
What?
Oh boy.
Commander, as you start rushing forward, you hear this kind of cracking sound, like someone has just stepped on ice that's far too thin. And you see in front of you this massive crack start to form, then another, and suddenly all of the coral around you shatters into these jagged, sharp pieces, and you start to fall onto just a pile of blades, basically. Give me a dex save, please.
Okay. Oh, Dex 19.
Yeah, as you sit there and you start see the coral rushing up at you, you instantly kind of twist your body, kind of hit the ground as well as you can, and kind of roll over, getting poked and prodded, but nothing doing substantial damage. The ground in front of you is basically a giant pit of knives now. If you want to go through it, you can try to very nimbly avoid the ones that will do the most damage using your acrobatics, or you can just crunch through everything with your athletics and smash anything that tries to pierce you. Since you are not currently being forced forward like your friends were, you can just go around the area as well, but you will lose one turn of movement circumventing this area.
Ooh, jeez.
So, what would you like to do?
So it's either okay.
So what
All right.
the options I gave you, which again, if
Yeah.
you have something better, go for it. Acrobatics or athletics,
Mm-hmm.
or go around and you basically forfeit your movement this turn, but you don't risk getting hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll risk it for the biscuit. I'll take acrobatics going through it.
All right, go ahead and give me that roll.
Please don't fail me. Huh? 19.
All right. So as you go, you kind of jump out, Ronin Warriors style, and just start kind of hopping between safe areas, going as quickly as you can. You have a few close calls, get a few scrapes on your armor, but you're able to make it through without too much difficulty. Um, you move your full dash speed this turn.
Sweet.
Next up is Lillian. So Lillian, you dive into the water in an attempt to just use the current and everything to speed you up as much as possible. As you're swimming through this, you see the river itself kind of takes a downturn, and you're now kind of the river itself is kind of cutting through a valley, and you have two very large walls of coral on either side. And you suddenly feel something kind of tap you on the back of the head, and you kind of reach back and you see little chunks of coral in your hair. You look up, and there are these massive kind of boulders of coral falling into the river in front of you and on top of you. I need a dex save to try and avoid them.
Okay. Bye. 19.
All right, these things are massive, so you start swimming against the current a little bit to slow yourself down and then speed up. You just barely miss getting crushed by them over and over again, and suddenly you feel solid ground underneath you. You watch as the water just moves away, and you notice that as you look back, a few of the boulders have actually cut off the river, and you are no longer in water. You're on dry ground. In front of you is a massive pile of boulders. You can either try to just climb over them using your athletics, or you can try and find a safe path through them using your investigation. Or you can just circumvent the entire thing and go around it, but you would lose a turn of movement.
Try to get back into the safe way.
Okay. So you start kind of looking at the various boulders. You notice there are gaps and things like that. They're not a solid wall. You start looking for the best way through. Give me your investigation check.
Well,
As you start going, trying to go as fast as you can, you suddenly come to an impasse. You start to backtrack, and you suddenly come to another. Then you feel the boulders shifting around you, and as you kind of dodge out of the way of one of them, another boulder is very sharp and cuts you into your armor. You take 10 slashing damage. But you are eventually able to find your way out. You get your full dash speed.
I know sleepy is
All right, and then finally, Henri.
Before I even moved, I wanted to do my ghostly gaze to see which coral would be sturdiest for me to walk on.
Ooh.
So that's my action to do that.
Okay. I will give you advantage on your initial saving throw for that.
It lasts for a minute and it has concentration, so if I take damage, I'll have to roll for that.
Okay. As you're sitting there focusing on the coral, you find a path that looks the most sturdy, going down a good 20 feet, it's solid coral. As you start running forward, you suddenly hear this rushing water sound. You look up to see a wall of water in front of you as a tidal wave comes crashing down on you.
That would look super weird with this X-ray vision.
Yeah,
Hmm.
kind of just see, what the hell? Said that doesn't. Oh shit! And so I need a strength save to brace yourself against the wall of water that comes crashing into.
You said I have advantage, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, I'm putting my faith in roll 20.
Hmm.
Oh, so 12.
Yeah, as the water crashes into you, you hit the ground and you are swept backwards away from safety. You take 15 bludgeoning damage, and you lose each turn of movement as you are pushed away from everyone else. Now you're still kind of being pushed back. So if you want to try and get back on track moving forward, you can try to just swim against the current.
Sorry, that.
And use your athletics to go through that, or you can try and use your perception to find a current that is moving against the rest of this to try and get you moving forward again in the water.
Okay, so because I saved and I still have my ghostly gaze up,
Mhm.
how would that affect my perception check with sunlight sensitivity, even though I'm perceiving things as ghostly, transparent objects?
I would give you, since you're looking for something specific, I'd give you advantage.
So just
You
a,
can, because you're basically underwater right now. I'd give you. We can negate the sunlight sensitivity for this turn.
perception, because athletics is not happening. 24.
Yeah, you have no problem as you're sitting there and you're watching all of your friends move forward as you're being dragged back into the maelstrom of this collapsing thing. You suddenly see little bits of coral in that are moving very rapidly the other direction. And you kind of twisted, squirming to get into that, and you shoot forward. So, unfortunately, this turn, you didn't gain any movement, but you didn't lose more movement. And you are now in water. So, Lillian and Henri, you shifted to terrains. Everyone else is in the same thing as before. Round 2, everybody roll a d8. Start with Argenta again.
1.
Right. Vala.
Also a 1.
Fun. Lillian.
6.
Right. Henri.
4.
And Commander.
3.
All right. Argenta first again. You run into this same issue that the commander had before. As you're running, you hear this cracking sound, this crunching sound, and suddenly the ground before you just shatters, turns into 1,000 knives of coral. Give me a dex save, please.
Alright. It's gonna be an 18.
All right. So as it again starts to do that, you kind of twist midair, doing like a butterfly twist, are able to land in a somewhat safe spot, avoiding the majority of the sharp things. Just like before, you can try to kind of jump and to dodge between the sharp bits with acrobatics. You can just charge through, crushing everything in your path with athletics, or you can go around completely and lose a round of movement.
I am going to charge straight through.
All right, give me an athletics check.
21.
All right, seeing all these sharp, pointy objects does not bother you in the least. You feel this strength in your legs as you just start going forward, slamming your boots into the ground as you run as fast as you can. You still take a bit of damage as things poke through your boots and scratch your legs and arms. So you take 8 piercing damage.
All right.
And you are able to move your full movement.
I'm 160 feet then.
And at that point, you are now in
160
an
feet.
area beyond where everything is kind of collapsing in on itself. As you look back, you can actually see what looks kind of like a vortex, where everything is kind of being sucked into it, and it is just this massive kind of sphere of destruction. And you can see all of your friends trying to catch up to you, Speedy Gonzalez. Next up is Vala. Vala, go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead.
Vala, you're still in the water. You're swimming as fast as you can. You're getting closer and closer. And suddenly, something feels different. Your skin feels tight, like it's being stretched. And as you look around, you suddenly see a little plume of smoke coming out of your mouth. You realize you can see your breath, and around you, the water starts to freeze faster than you've seen anything freeze before. I need a Constitution saving throw to try and resist this flash freeze.
16.
Just enough as you're sitting there and your limbs are starting to ache, and they're stopping obeying your commands. You kind of fight through it and keep swimming. Now the water you're in, as it's rushing, you can see these fairly large icebergs. To get through this area, if you stay in this cold water, you're going to get hyperthermia and to die. You need to move out of it. So, if you want, you can just power through and use your athletics to just swim as fast as you can to get to warmer water. Or you can hop onto one of these icebergs and kind of ride it into warmer water using your acrobatics.
I will attempt to climb onto one of the icebergs.
Okay, go ahead and make me an acrobatics check.
I hope for story's sake you roll low since you love fire.
You know, I forgot to try to inspire Henri before any of this happened, and now 7.
So as you kind of jump up onto one of these icebergs, it is very smooth and slick since it's brand new formed ice, and it's bobbing in and out of the water. You try your hardest to kind of get on and hold on to it, and you don't notice the other iceberg coming up that slams into your back, sandwiching you between the two. You take 15 bludgeoning damage from the icebergs slamming into you. However, you are able to, as the one you're on is cushioned from the blow by your body, you are able to ride it to the point where the water is warm enough for you to get back in it. You get your full movement. This
Okay.
turn.
Well, we need to move 120 feet, correct?
150.
Okay.
So you're about 30 feet left. Next up is Commander. As you're running forward, you suddenly feel another kind of rumbling, and right in front of you, a huge thing of stuff where I just dropped shit in my room. You see this huge wall of coral just shoot up in front of you, stopping your movement completely. I need an intelligence saving throw to avoid running face first into the wall.
Oh boy. Real quick question: did I have time or anything at all, or is it just gone? My rope is just gone.
I'll say when the cliff kind of slammed down, the rope would have been dislodged. So
Uh-huh.
as you were running, you could have
Cool.
picked it up and gone.
Awesome. Okay, intelligence saving. Oh man. Okay. Big dice. What is that? Oh, 13.
All right. As this huge wall appears in front of you, you start trying to stop yourself on the very kind of slick coral, and right before you smack into it, your forward momentum stops. You now have a massive wall in front of you. If you like, it is coral. Coral is breaking around you, all around you. You can try to use your athletics to just slam through it and break through the coral wall. If you want, you can use your insight to try and kind of judge the wall itself and find out where it would be most brittle, and try to attack that point to create a hole through it. Or you can use investigation to try and find a route you can climb over the wall. Or, as always, you can just walk around it, but you would lose a turn of movement doing that.
Okay. Let's see. I'll try insight.
All right. Also, remember, if you want to use like an attack or an ability to do something, you can do that as well.
That's true.
It just limits you to 30 feet instead of 60 feet, but it's still forward momentum.
Yeah. So would I still use insight, or if I wanted to see if maybe I could just shoot through it and maybe they would blast through?
Shoot through it. It's a big wall. I would just have you roll damage for how many attacks? You have 2 attacks right now.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no chance you can miss, so I would just have you roll damage twice to see if you can break through it. And if you have your action surge, you can roll 4 to damage.
I don't have that. I think I used that in the last fight, and we have not short rested. So, man, it's a hard choice. Yeah, I'll go with trying to shoot through as I'm moving forward, I guess.
All right, you go for it. You can basically treat this like any normal attack, other than the fact that you are guaranteed to hit.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want to grit or sharpshooter, whatever. Go for it.
Oh. Well, now you tell me that. Okay, hold on. I have 2 grit left. Can I use it on both shots?
Go for it.
Sweet. Let's see. So sharpshooter is +10, I believe. to the shot, or is it +5?
Starts you to -5 to its attack roll, +10
+10 to
damage.
damage. That's right. Okay, yeah. So that's both shots, 20, 30, what did I roll? 39, 42.
All right, so you pull out. What was it called again? Did you-
Fury.
Fury. You pull out Fury and just fire two shots into this wall. You watch as a massive part of it just shatters and crumbles before you, and you run through. You get half your dash, or
So-
just your regular movement.
Okay.
This turn.
Okay.
That was your action to do that.
Yeah.
All right, Liliane, you are now on Coral. Funny enough, as you are running forward on solid ground now, you hear a rushing sound, and you see from a different direction a new river of water come and just slam into you and start taking you. Or about to take you away. I need a dex save to avoid getting hit by this massive river. All right. So as it comes through, the river hits you and slams you into the ground as it just kind of bumps you constantly along the bottom of this new riverbed. You take 15 bludgeoning damage. In front of you, you can see more bits of broken coral as this river is literally carving a brand new route through this coral. You can try to nimbly avoid all the coral using acrobatics, or you can try to use insight to judge where you think the river is going to go and try to avoid getting hit by more coral that way. Or again, any other ability you want to try. Okay. Roll me an insight check.
14.
As you're sitting there trying to judge and predict where the river is going to flow, you dodge one large piece of coral, a second one, but a third one smacks into you, into your side, and you take 10 piercing damage. But you do get your full movement. Turn.
So now about 120.
Finally, we have Henri. Henri is your riding this new river, trying to get where you want to go. You start noticing that the river itself starts turning away from where you want to go, and the current kind of reverses, and you start getting pulled back again. I need a strength save to fight being dragged up river.
I'm going to turn off my invocation so I'm not seeing all this weird grayscale.
Okay.
Oh my sweet lord. How? So I rolled a 2, but it became a 1.
So yet again, you are pulled away from the rest of your party who's getting further and further away, you lose a turn of movement. Seeing the river is going to keep pulling you away, you can either try to athletics check it to just swim against the current to try and find a new path, or you can use investigation to try and locate another current or something that will allow you to get back the direction you want to go.
You know what's funny about that? One's a -1, one's a 0. All right, roll 20. I'm putting my faith in you with investigation.
Okay.
With +0. Oh, yes.
So you're
Stop
trying-
trusting it.
trying to engage with your 5, trying to figure out what route is going to be the best for you. You choose poorly and lose a second round of movements. You are now -60 feet towards your goal.
Henri's really going to love water after this.
You can feel behind you this kind of almost static electricity, and the bits of your robe are being pulled into this very massive sphere of death, basically. And you get too much closer to it, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
The rate we're going, we'll find out.
So, looks like only Lillian started in the water, went to coral, back in the water, and Argenta is free.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing something because I see one person is like at like death's door, so I'm gonna be tying a rope to an arrow this turn.
Okay. That was going to be my next question is you don't have to run, so what do you want to do? You're going to shoot Henri. Save Henri.
I mean, I don't need help. No.
Everybody else, roll me a D8.
That's debatable, sir.
So let's start with Vala. Vala, you are muted.
That would be a 2 this time.
All right. Lillian.
3.
Henri.
I thought you told me not to roll because I missed a turn, essentially.
Oh, no, you're still going to roll. You're just,
Oh.
instead of having to travel 150 feet, you need to travel 210 to be safe.
That's possible in 3 turns for me.
You have to get creative. So what'd you roll?
7.
All right, Commander?
6.
All right. So, we'll start with Vala as Argenta is furiously tying a rope to an arrow and knocking it. Vala, you're still in the water.
I'm still in the water.
So as you're swimming, the water is much warmer. You can see the icebergs are starting to kind of just drift apart. And the area you're in actually seems kind of calm and pleasant. You're like, at first you're thinking, this is fine. I can just swim. You can see safety. It's not very, very far away. Suddenly, it's as if something pulls on your ankle. You get instantly pulled underwater, and you watch as the surface of the water gets further and further away as an undertow has caught you and is pulling you down to the river bed. I need a Constitution saving throw to hold your breath while fighting against this undertow.
11. Why am I using this dice?
Yeah.
As you're going down, you start to panic more and more. Your lungs, you let air escape too quickly. Your lungs start burning, and you take 15 psychic damage as you start to panic and are pinned against the water between two very large rocks and what looks like kind of a drain, just a crack in the bed where a lot of water is flowing out. So you're currently kind of pinned there because of the current. You can try and just wait it out because with everything shifting around, you're probably not going to be stuck there forever using a con save. Or you can use an athletics check to try and fight against this current and get back above water. Or again, if you have another idea.
Um,
If you don't like the options, come up with your own. You literally,
Right.
because you've already moved 60 feet, you only need 30 feet.
right. I'm gonna try the Constitution save.
All right.
Try it and stick it out.
Make the con save.
No. 5.
All right. As you're down there, trying to calm yourself as your lungs are burning more and more, you start to panic and thrash about trying to do anything as you're just waiting for this to occur. You take 20 psychic damage and lose your turn of movement as you wait for it eventually to shift and you slowly bob back up to the surface.
Okay, so I'm still 120 feet total
Yep.
movement.
No
Okay.
forward or backward movement.
Okay.
And then next up is Commander.
Okay.
Similar to Liliane, as you're running forward, you hear this rushing water sound, and you see a brand new river cut through the area you're standing in. Give me a dex save.
18.
All right. As the river rushes through you, you immediately throw yourself backwards, avoiding the river itself. But as it goes through, cutting this brand new path, you can see it is eroding the coral beneath your feet rapidly. You can use acrobatics to kind of dive into the river before the coral beneath you erodes away completely, and try to dodge around debris. Or you can use insight to kind of judge where the river is going and guess where the safest path is going to be.
How far am I from Henri? I'm 60 feet away from the end.
So he's 210 feet, so you'd be 150 feet away.
Jeez. Okay. Nothing I can really do. I don't have anything to get to him. I'll go see if I can help Argenta figure out a better way to get to him. So I'll use acrobatics to get there.
Okay, make me a roll.
That was almost really bad. That's it's natural 17 plus 9,
You're
26.
fine. As you dive into the water, almost like a dolphin, you're kind of swimming around these crags and broken pieces of coral until you get to slightly smoother water. Your terrain is now water, and you've moved another 60 feet. So as you get to the end, you're able to climb out, and you see Argenta there furiously tying a rope to an arrow. That brings us to Lillian, who's back in the water because she can't decide where she wants to be. And as you're going, as this river is cutting a brand new path, you suddenly start to see whitecaps in various places, and you realize you're in the middle of rapids.
Fine.
Yep, whitewater rafting. Without a raft. Give me a deck save to try and avoid getting hit.
Well,
Not quite good enough. As you're going through, you get hit by one, and then another. You take a total of 15 piercing damage. Going forward, you can try and look for a route through the rapids with a perception check, or you can use athletics to just kind of bounce off specific ones to get you moving further.
yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. Go ahead and make your check.
19.
All right, so you sit there and you realize these rapids are just, there's too many to avoid them all. But if you hit 3 specific ones, you think you can bounce your way to a mostly clear path. You still take 5 bludgeoning damage from hitting the various ones, but you are able to make it through and get your full movement, which I believe gets you to the end, right?
Yeah.
So battered and bruised, you climb out of the river next to the commander, as you see Argenta furiously trying to remember all his knots.
We're there with you.
Finally, Henri.
Hmm.
You may want to look for those online dice rollers, just to
Yeah,
get something different.
Yeah, but it says I need to use surf.
Well, you're currently in the water, and as you're sitting there trying to avoid this sphere of the death behind you, you suddenly see this massive mountainous crag of coral just burst out in front of you, splashing water and razor sharp splinters of coral everywhere. I need a dex save to avoid the splinters.
Oh, first double-digit roll, 18.
All right. As a wave of razor-sharp splinters come towards you, you dive beneath the dwindling water, hoping that it'll slow them down enough, and it works. However, the water is gone pretty quickly, and you're now on solid ground. Now you have this kind of mini mountain in front of you. To move forward, you can use a perception check to find a route over it that is as safe as possible. Or, again, coral is breaking all around you. You can just smash your way through it using athletics. Normally, I'd also tell you if you want to just walk around, you can. You'd lose a turn of movement. You don't have enough movement to lose at this point.
Oh, I wish I could intimidate the coral. That would be great. I'm
Yeah, if you've got other ideas, you have cantrips and stuff for other warlock abilities other than your spells. Get creative. At this point, you need to gain some speed.
yeah. Think I don't think any of my cantrips will help, besides maybe Eldritch Blast to just blast my way through. But that's just charging through. So I'm gonna take the -1 and roll with athletics because I don't want disadvantage.
I will tell you, certain checks have higher DCs depending on the difficulty of what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I'll go with perception just because it's even at disadvantage of +5 is still better.
To say, I don't think it's possible for you to make the DC on athletics.
With a natural 20 to be a 19.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Jesus. I, uh, I don't even know why I rolled the second time. It was a disadvantage. It's a natural 1 for the folks at home. Again.
So things are going well for you. You unfortunately take another 15 slashing damage as you're climbing it, slip, and get cut on some of the sharp bits. But you make it over and get your full movement if you're still conscious.
Yeah, we healed up before we dove in and dealt with the work.
Well, that's good. So yeah, you got your full movement. Now you're only 150 feet away.
Right back.
So we now have Lillian and the commander with our Argenta. But before that round ends, Argenta, since you haven't done anything but tie a rope, I will give you one action. You can take this turn if you'd like. And I lost roll 20. Am I still alive? Hold, please. Hey, can you guys see and hear me?
Yep.
Hi, I lost roll 20 for a second.
Argenta, you may need to reconnect. I can see and hear Jody, but I don't think anybody else can.
I can. Yeah, I refreshed and I can hear him.
Yep.
Oh, I just think this game does not want Henri to succeed when there's water involved.
Here, I'm going to be tying Commander's rope to my rope to make it longer.
Okay. Anyone else want to add their ropes to this?
Lillian's here.
Yeah.
Commander, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Excellent. So we're all back. Thank you. Rolled 20. Cool. So back to the top. I need Vala and Henri to roll me a D8.
7.
Again.
5.
All right. But before we start this new turn, Argenta, Lillian, and Commander, you guys are in solid ground. You can see Vala He's kind of bobbing in the water about 30 feet away, and Henri is about 150, running like his life depends on it, because it kind of does.
Do I have the ropes all tied together? All right, I'm gonna have them hold like the very end as I aim the shot, and I call this one "Toss an arrow to your warlock, O Valley of Death."
Wow.
This will be the one time you won't hit me.
Yeah, go ahead and make me an attack roll.
Okay, it's at long range, and I rolled a 16 to hit you.
That hits.
So, Henri, as you're going, you suddenly hear Argenta start singing for some reason, and you have no idea where he got it. But as this lute music comes through and this kind of folksy song, he starts singing about, toss an arrow to your warlock or something. You see an arrow and a rope smack in the coral right in front of it. We will get back to that in just a second here, because Vala, as you hear music start playing that's not coming from you,
I cast Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
You rolled a 5. Yeah, as you're kind of bobbing, you suddenly feel yourself going down, along with the rest of the water. As you look down, that little crack that had you been before is now a chasm, and all the water is draining very quickly, and you are very quickly coming up upon the spiky bottom of this lake bed. A dex save to avoid you impaling yourself.
Question: that rope that went to Henri, is that happen to be near me as well?
Unfortunately not. You guys took such separate paths.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went backwards. You went forward.
Andre's like, everyone else is going to run away from danger. I'll run toward it. It's the last thing it'll suspect. Sneak attack.
19.
Yeah, you have no problem. Even with how quickly the water just kind of drops, you're able to find a safe place. However, now you are surrounded by sharp coral. You can use acrobatics to kind of dodge between them and try and make it to the end here, or you can use athletics, just charge through.
I would like to use my Eldritch Blast to blast a hole,
Sure.
since I only need to go 30 feet.
So as you get there, you're just like, fuck it. And you just blast your way through. You guys hear these small explosions and what sounds like shattering glass or ceramics. And you watch as Vala just casually kind of walks her way up a hill, brushing little bits of coral off of her.
And I'll be like, who has been reading my Pinterest boards?
Henri, you are on coral right now, right?
Yeah. Back where I started, quite literally.
You're not going to like this.
Oh, give me that athletics check again.
As the arrow hits the ground in front of you, you hear a cracking sound. And suddenly, all around you shatters and you start falling. You look below you, and you can see a small lake of water 30 feet down as you plummet towards it. Now, because there is a rope next to you, I will let you use a deck save to catch it, or a con save to just brace yourself for the very cold water you're about to fall into. So,
Well-
which would you prefer?
Going with the dex save because ropes have been saving Henri's life quite frequently recently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, now there you are. Natural 20.
Not only do you grab the rope, but as soon as it grows taut, you kind of brace your legs, you slam into the wall, kick off of it, and are able to kind of get back up out of this pit without any difficulty. You get your full movement, and the three people, or Vala, if you wanted to join in as well, if you want to make athletics or just straight strength checks together, you can see if you can kind of yank him further.
Okay, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
burnt.
Bad things happen.
Can I use
burning
my?
her.
Me?
Oh no, wait, I don't have any bardic inspiration left. Never mind.
I'm burning a rage.
Okay. Right. So we'll start with Argenta. Just a straight check.
20.
All right. Vala?
19.
All right. Lillian?
23.
Damn. What did you roll? Like a 19?
19 plus 4.
Damn. And then Commander.
5.
So Argenta lets out this bestial scream, starts just yanking on the rope. Vala, showing incredible strength for her side, also just starts yanking on it. Lillian does the whole universal soldier. And then Commander, you're just like, I'm helping too.
I'm pulling on the rope behind Argenta.
I can mop brows like I'm totally here for that. Henri, as you're running full tilt, you start noticing the rope is getting a little bit of slack, and then it's not. Your ass gets dragged 60 feet in 6 seconds. So in that last turn, you moved 120 feet.
Ah,
I will
We-
have you roll a. I'll let you pick con or the dex to try and avoid slamming your face into the ground as you're dragged.
let's try dex again. Oh, it's like clockwork. Natural 1.
No, come on. Oh no.
Okay, I am seriously gonna make a dice tray so I can go back to normal dice. This is ridiculous.
You take 3 bludgeoning damage as your face slams into the ground and you're dragged.
Oh,
60 feet.
God.
Okay, last turn before bad things happen.
I'm pulling.
I need the D8 from Henri.
Uh-oh.
Watch, all this will be for nothing. Just watch.
The funny thing is, anything a 5 or above is supposed to switch you to the other terrain type, but because the arrow, you're still under the dry ground, being dragged.
I rolled an 8.
All right.
When the DM laughs, you're in trouble.
I can only roll d8s really well. Can we just change this to a d8 system and I'll be golden?
I'm super sorry about this, Henri.
Oh.
Jesus, Jody.
Give me a strength save. I'm not doing this. There are 7 other options he could have got going. Twice. Because you have the rope, I'll let you make the strength save at advantage.
Dude, seriously?
For those of you at home, that was a natural 1, meaning a 0, and then an 8, becoming a 7.
Come on.
All right, the 4 of you guys, 1 of you, I need to make a strength save because the rope is about to be pulled.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
22. 22.
Yeah. You guys are just dragging this thing, and you suddenly feel the rope go even tauter, and 3 of you guys actually have to let go because the rope starts to burn your hands. You each take 1 point of fire damage as the rope burns your hand. Argenta, you just kind of get dragged forward and sorry, for the folks at home, we have a chat that you guys can't see. So Henri said, "I can't breathe. I'm laughing too hard." Commander countered with, "Your character can't breathe either." Take your inspiration, Commander.
Yay!
Hilarious.
I got one.
Henri, you take 15 bludgeoning damage
Oh, man.
from the fail. However, you do not lose a turn of movement like you normally would. You are, however, getting swept away by a new water. You have athletics to try and swim against it, perception to try and find a path through it, or I'll let you roll a con save to just hold on to the rope and hope your friends can pull you out into time.
Roll 20 can't possibly fail me 17 times in a row now, can it?
Please don't use
I
roll 20.
think you understand how
Please
it works.
use Wizards of the Coast or something. Come on.
Oh, I think it's hilarious. I roll higher on the D8 than a D20. Let's do con because me trying to help myself isn't working.
Oh, God. Really? Really? How? Dude. Find a new dice. Roller.
Give me the urinal dethrone Wheaton. Come on.
God.
So for the folks at home, what did you roll?
5.
Jesus, man.
Oh my god.
The rope slips through your fingers as you begin to drift back into this sphere of death. How many hit points do you currently have?
34.
Wow, I guess I didn't hit you very hard. You start by taking 10 cold damage from the water and everything.
Oh no.
Oh. What? Jody.
As sucked into this sphere. The first thing you notice is the wind around it is howling unimaginably loud. You see bits of coral and water and dirt and grime of every color, shape, size, and sound you can think of crashing around you. You take 66 cold and bludgeoning damage.
So I'm at 24.
Positive?
Yeah, no. I'm saying I'm at 24 before the damage. I don't know the whole one-shot rule exactly.
It's
Oh,
it
you-
exceeds your maximum hit points, right?
Yeah. It's basically you have the extra
Oh.
damage has to be equal or greater than your max HP.
Okay, then I'm just. Oh, that. My app says I'm deceased. That's why I was like, what? But damage.
You did.
I mean, more than likely, but hey.
Because of the repeated hits on your body, I am going to need 3 death saves.
Oh
Let's
no!
go with tradition.
Did that
No,
ability
use a different roller.
recharge?
Use a different roller.
No, that's a long rest for that ability. All right, so here's number 1. Hey,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh.
an
there's one.
18, a 19. Oh, we're getting.
What
Come on,
world?
come on.
Oh,
Nat 20.
if anything happens, this is going to be a natural 1. I'm feeling it now.
Oh my god.
All right, hold on. Let me go buy a lottery ticket, guys.
Yeah, right? Seriously.
Oh no.
So, you have 2 death saves successes, 2 failures.
Oh, it's full count. Bottom of the ninth.
As you all watch as Henri's body goes limp and he lets go of the rope, you watch him get sucked into this maelstrom of destruction, and you can see all you can see from the outside is just this massive sphere. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it seems that everything it touches, it pulverizes. It completely destroys. And you can see like a giant storm cloud forming above this thing as well, and lightning keeps striking into it. The wind itself gets incredibly loud. You have to kind of brace your arms in front of your eyes to protect your face, and suddenly everything stops. There's no wind, there's no rain. You look around and you see kind of the familiar, somewhat overcast skies of the area. You can see the kind of swamp-like dead trees and a massive crater where this area used to be. As you look into the crater, nothing is there. No coral, no werewolf corpse, no cage, and no Henri.
Ah.
I start looking around to see if there's any sign of him anywhere.
It's the area you're looking at is smooth and almost perfectly spherical. It's basically a half sphere has just been carved out of the ground here, roughly about 300 feet in diameter. Doing a cursory scan, unless it's underneath the ground, there's nothing there. It's completely clean and smooth.
I start looking at the others. Where's Henri? What happened?
Oh,
With
no.
you still holding on to the rope, as you pull it in, you can see the arrow that was attached to the rope is gone, and so is half the rope.
Hmm. I think he's gone.
Gone where?
The bad place.
Yeah.
How do we get there? How do we get him back?
That
Yeah.
statue, is that thing gone that we saw earlier?
Everything is gone. There is
Is that like the center of the sphere? The half sphere?
yeah, where the disc was that was pouring out all that water, that was basically the center of it.
And the disc is gone.
Everything is gone. Again, it looks like a giant ice cream scoop just came in and dug out, or a melon baller just came in and dug out.
I'm gonna start running around the perimeter,
Okay.
looking for anything.
And I'll go the opposite direction.
All right, make me. I'll let you choose perception or investigation.
I'm gonna say perception because
Yeah, same here.
I'm not. I'm more frantic. 14.
19.
As you both are looking through, you're finding nothing. Like you even start to peer over the edge, kind of to dig in a little bit. This isn't like silt or anything. This is solid, packed to dirt and rock. Like you couldn't even be kind of like hidden under it, under like the dust or something. Like it's just solidness and then nothing.
I will back while they're doing the search round. I will back up a good 30 feet and start casting mold earth to build like a 5-foot stairways down into the center of the crater.
Okay. So as you sit there and focus your planar abilities and feel yourself kind of connect with the plane of Earth for just a brief moment, you suddenly can see all the ground and rocks around you, and with just force of will, you will them to move around and create you this staircase going down.
Yeah, I'm going to be searching like the actual crater itself.
Okay. So did you make the stairs like into the crater so you go underneath it, or what are you doing?
Yeah, let's go underneath it because I can't see anything from that.
So you guys watch as Argenta kind of dives into the crater, and then you watch as the ground just kind of flees from Argenta, and Argenta kind of disappears into the earth. Argenta, as you go down further and further, you see some root structure at first, and then just rock. And further down, it's just more and more rock, and then it ends.
Okay, I'll climb back up.
sitting there, you suddenly feel strange, like you're feeling someone else's emotion. You feel this intense feeling of kind of grief, combined with like a feeling of loss. And you hear in your head, "Follow. What's happened?"
We found another portal. We were able to stop it and close it, but when it closed, we lost Henri. I don't know if he was sucked into it or what, but everything is gone, and I don't think he's here.
And the voice of Celeste kind of echoes in your head. I can't feel him.
Could he have been taken to another plane?
Mm.
You must return. We must figure out what's happened.
I will get the others. We'll make haste. And I just start running back to everybody and fill them in on what Celeste just told me. We need to go back now.
As you say that, you hear a bestial scream further away, and you see this group of 5 creatures, which have now shifted. They no longer look quite as feral, but a few of them have the telltale signs of shifters. But what they were before was definitely lycanthropic and not just shifting.
Right?
As they come forward, the leader, whom Argenta you would probably recognize as well as Lillian. Gilead, war chief of Fenrish, steps forward with his massive greatsword. Says, "No one is leaving until you tell me what you did to create that abomination." And that is where we will end it for this week.
Oh,
So, hope you guys had fun. If you missed any of the episode, I do upload all of them to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TrainerJody. Check it out there. Otherwise, we'll be back in a couple weeks, possibly with a new character. Who knows? But that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.